First, let me ask, what is this that Facebook is sending out about updating their policies, their privacy policies, according to what in Europe? Uh, so they are updating their privacy policies. The promise that the data they collect from us will be what used. I don't know whether I've got this notice from Facebook too. Is it that they will handle us now better, not market us, market our information, or what? Anyone knows?
Does anybody know? Okay, well, I haven't seen that. Well, there's always policies with anything, but what's the reference here? What is it reference to what we're doing?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Whether it would impact what we are doing, or will it give us a freer hand, or what?
Well, uh, as you bring this up, realistically, I just go moment by moment, and I'm amazed in a way we're still here. As an example, the Health Ranger and other people, they've taken everything they've done down through Facebook and other means. And so again, you have world controllers here that they can do whatever they want. So I'm amazed that from what I've written and said that I'm still here. So again, you just take a chance and see what happens. So, it's really not about policies and things like that. I don't look at any of that really. I kind of do, and it's like, okay, it's kind of like the copyright laws. That's really all entrapment. I think Obama wrote those and other people. There's all kinds of laws. There's laws about everything. And everything is plagiarism because everything is copyrighted. Everything is copyrighted. Every picture, every this or that. And so what do? You do nothing. So again, for the most part, what we're presenting, the most of the world does not want to hear it. They really don't, because they're into, first of all, their personal life. They're into some kind of religion or spiritual path or this or that or whatever. They don't want to hear it. And so what do? We do nothing. So I I see these things, but I don't pay attention to them really, simply because I just take the risk to see what happens. That's all. And some of the stuff bothers others, what we're doing, etc. Of course, it's always going to bother them. And then so these people will look to the rules, the regulations, the policies, whatever, to try and figure something out to, okay, how do we push these people away or block them or whatever. This is just how this world is. It's how self-convinced we are about things. Yeah, so, and here's, Lori, you maybe have to mute there, young lady. There you go. Thank you. So again, as you look at these things, you can say, okay, well, what are the rules? What do we have to do here? Well, it's not that we're here to interfere with anybody, but at the same time, we're just doing our part. But when it comes to those things, unless it's brought up from them, from their side, I don't really look at it. And the United States here is an example. I'm in the United States. I mean, they're making laws every second, and all these laws, all they do is restrict people. It's all restriction. They call it a benefit, but it's all restriction. So I just do every moment and wait and see what happens, and then just simply deal with it. But actually, how they've written the laws, everybody can be arrested all the time. That's really how they've written it. And so, and that's their meaning. I don't see it any other way because this is how they're set up. So, Yes, Charles. So whatever your interpretation is, but again, I don't focus on those things. I just focus on doing what I can and dealing with whatever comes up. And for the most part, I have to deal with other people's restrictions, just trying to get done what we're doing. But for the most part, we're doing great with whatever takes place. And Kelsey gets hammered here once in a while with this or that or blocked or whatever because there's some copyright thing or whatever. They pick and choose what is copyright. They pick and choose it. They don't have time to look at everybody, but they look at the stream of things because you got hundreds of millions, billions of things going, minute by minute out there. And so for them to sift through all of that, but once in a while you get caught with something. But you know what? It's all plagiarism. It's all copyright according to the laws they've created. And they've done that purposely. Yeah, to more and more restrict people, make them feel guilty, make them just obey, you know, and don't do anything, etc. Just watch other people as they do it and they get in trouble. That's really the basic idea. Yeah, watch everybody else get in trouble and don't you do anything, stay afraid and just stay normal. Well, that's one idea. Charles, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, the first experience I have connects to Africa, and it starts with Val and ends with me. So Val introduced me to a guy from Ghana whom he considered resourceful, and who he thought could help propel projects or even the objectives of the wonderful worldwide educators in excuse me, in that part of the world. Well, it turned out that this guy is a scammer. So within days, he asked me for $200 help. So I want to tell us to beware of meeting anyone online who claims that their parents are all deceased, and he is left alone to take care of his or her siblings. Or he is pursuing an educational cause and needs financial help. So we should be careful with such persons. So my focus with him was on the new presentation. I thought that maybe Val had found him interested, and he wanted me to talk with him, to direct him. So my concern is the person looking for, or has been looking for, real freedom, and came across a new friend online. So that's what I focus on. Well, he asked for help, and I let him know that my concern or my preoccupation at that moment was to assist my my dad, who was diagnosed with prostate cancer. So when he realized that I will not, no help will be forthcoming from me, he wrote back saying that he prayed that God could multiply my problems by making my dad's condition worse. Well, my dad translated last Wednesday that I do not attribute it to his senseless curse, and I see his action as part of the dilemma dealing with persons we meet online. It is great using the internet to contact people, and many have turned out to be much resourceful. However, I find that this method of contacting people will be put to tests only when there is a real physical event where people can personally attend, where people's personal attendance is required. Who will take the risk to be seen and counted as a contrarian? That kind of person who is prepared to brave the stigma to be different in this sea of conformity. That will be the real test of risk-taking in Africa. Because these online meetings is proving very disastrous. Experience has proven that many hide behind the anonymity of the internet and do many other activities which are unconnected with our purpose here. So this is one of the experiences I had during the week, which is a bit unpalatable.
Charles, does this mean God and Val are in trouble?
No, Val is not in trouble. He was doing something to help he thought he was helping the guy. When I also contacted him, I thought I was doing something beneficial to him and to all of life. We chatted. In fact, he was engaging me in chat all the time. I would make special moments to chat with him. But all that was in preparation for him to ask for some money from me. And when I refused the money, he poured curses on me. He wished that God could multiply my problems by making my father's condition grow worse. So I actually wrote them. I screened my eyes to see whether that was what he had written. And behold, the words were in black and white. It was really interesting.
Well, let me just interject, and that is, it sounds like some of the brokers and people I've dealt with in business transactions, so it's nothing new. Yes, I've gone through so much, and I see on the real side that these business deals in Rebazar and the boys are there. They bring these things around, you might say, and people are given the opportunity, but they always make the choice. You see, we're given the opportunity, and so it's kind of like if I want something to happen, and the boys, they go out there and they start making connections on the real side, and people start showing up. Well, I had this one gal many years ago, it's about 8-9 years ago, that was one of the brokers for one of my transactions. And, at first she was very nice. And she was a sweetie, and she was working with this older fella who had been in this trade, these transactions, which I've done for a while and been in it for a long, long time. And I don't think he was ever successful because they're very hard. But as time went on with her, she was even starting to read one of the books. She even had questions. She had read one of the books and had questions. And talk to other intermediates that were dealing in these transactions I'm doing, and but then after a while, she just became very controlling on the real side. It was showing up, and so again, people make choices, and I know it's hard. I know it's hard. So I see this as the part of the adventure because people are struggling here. And at the same time, people want to, most people want to do something genuine and sincere and real. But for the most part, they're pulled back by the world. It's hard, just like you're saying, who has the courage to step up in Africa? And yeah, it takes a lot here. Otherwise, I look at it as like if I don't do something, then the world stays the same. At least what can I contribute? So yeah, it's a choice that we each make, and Ava, especially Ava, with the Africans, because she's a blonde lady and her pictures out there, of course that's the Ava we present from the real side, but they do the same thing. They come up, they're very friendly, then they start asking for money, and I understand. You get them here too, but. Yeah, this is just how it is. This is how the world is. As people step forward, then they kind of step back with what they're doing. But again, everybody's struggling to wake up, and this is where it's taken us a few minutes here, but little by little, as we build this up. But the best of all worlds right now is the Skypes. We've all met each other. And so the boys are doing everything they can on the real side because, again, they have to work through resistance and free will. They need cooperation, too, for things to, come to be here, you might say. So, yes, Charles, at least we're here for you, and we're here for each other. This is where we support each other. So, yeah. And so your dad went to the real side. He simply passed over, and so he's on his new journey. And again, you'll see what happens from that. But yeah, people are funny here, and it's like whatever. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Duane. That's it. I actually, in fact, in the whole family, I think I was privy to this to his translation process, and even the announcement about his death and all the like. But I won't say anything because the people around me, they are not yet developed to handle such information. I actually saw all the processes. I was coming, and even when my dad said he wanted to talk to me, very well, strong at the time, just a few weeks back, and he told me that if he had wronged me, I should forgive him. I knew in my heart what he was saying, because I had seen the process building up on the real side. But I won't still say anything to anybody because I thought I was just privileged to know what was happening. So I monitored the process. In fact, from many years back, from about 2 years back or 3, the process had been building up. Little snippets of information coming in, and I knew what was impending. And then I started seeing him operating more on the real side. So I wanted to. Well, there was nothing I could do to stop it, because that's the tendency when people get older, they operate more on the other side than you. So I want to know, Duane, why is it that upon returning from the real side, sometimes we have to take buses, trains, planes, etc. Why we left our bodies without taking on any of these means of transportation. Why don't we just dive into the body? Yeah, Duane.
Again, everybody has their own way of doing things. Peter, you have to mute. Yeah, we can hear the hiss from your Skype, Peter. You have to mute. When you come on, the first thing you have to do is mute. Everybody has their way, Charles. There's no way to say it. Why do some people wear dresses and some people wear pants? Again, yeah, it's a choice. It's just the way. Or many times, if the guides want to do it that way, okay, they may want to do it that way for the person. So that just depends too to where they're being taken, you see. So until they're on their own, until you can do it on their own. So it's just like here, we take a car or a bus until you might say we can fly, something like that. And on the real side, it's like it can be like that too. Just depends upon the person and the situation. So those are just, it really doesn't matter. Yeah.
Because at times I find myself boarding a bus or a train, and then not long after I'll wake up. So that is the return process. So I begin to ask myself, why do we take, or why do I think it happens to others too. Why do we take this means of transportation to come back to the body?